Sitting anak.
Hey, hey, hey.
Yo, what up, man?
What's up?
I'm good. I'm good. Say hi.
Diego. Diego Silang.
Say hi to Tito. Hi,
Hi,
Tito.
Tito.
All right.
Hello, Diego.
Okay, go back.
Diego
Go back to
Rai.
your iPad. All right. So yeah. So we're doing the show simultaneously having my dinner as well. But yeah. All right. So I have a topic idea,
Coca-Cola.
like the fountain of youth.
Coca-Cola.
What is it that you know? I mean,
Coca-Cola.
Pinoys are notoriously, or Asians, I guess, in general, are notoriously known for. I wouldn't say notoriously, but I guess for like the white folks and those who are Europeans and are Caucasians. They're really amazed at how Asians remain youthful looking, and you know, I guess mainly because of our skin and whatnot. But yeah, so I was just thinking, Filipinos too. I think even if you compare Filipinos to other nationalities in general, because we laugh a lot and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, yeah, the topic's gonna be like, yeah, what's the fountain of youth, and for those who wanna continue to look young without having to resort to surgery and all that stuff, what's the trick? Because I think a lot of the aging, especially for us Asians, has a lot to do with like mental stress. It's not necessarily physical because our skin can take the heat. I think we have is it melanin? Yeah, we have enough melanin content on our skin. So, especially us Moreno guys and whatnot. What's the trick to being young? But give me the update first. You hooked up with Marvin. So what
I
was that
did.
about?
I did. Well, I drove about 2 hours plus, more or less three, to see him.
And then 2 hours back again to get home.
About 2 to 3. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, basically we spent about 4 hours together. I got there
Okay.
12. I left around almost 4. So we walked around and chat. Then we sat and had lunch. And yeah, it was I think it was pretty good because I didn't realize that I haven't seen him since 2009. So that was like 14 years ago.
Dang.
That long. That long.
Yeah. I saw him. Um, I saw him more recently. I think probably around 2015. I'm not sure, but I know he visited the station one time. And I was doing the show with Gabby already. So that was definitely after 2009. Did you guys like see each other in Manila? Like,
Yeah, that was 2009 when I came home.
so that was the
And
last time, right?
yeah, I met up with him there, and that was it. And I
Wait,
thought I saw him
wait,
after
Diego.
that, but he said we didn't. I think I saw Gabby one time. I was at Starbucks and Gabby passed by, and we chatted, and she said, "Oh, Marvin was here, but like he already left." So I was like, "All right, okay, that's sad." But yeah, so realizing that the last time I saw him was like 2009. That was like 14 years ago. So it was all right. It was nice to see him after all these years.
Yeah, of course. You guys go way back. I mean, I know Marvin, consider him a friend, and I guess we're pretty close. But you guys were really close. Like, I mean, you guys were for a while. I guess you guys were like hanging out
I've
for the
known
most
him
part.
since he was in second year high school.
Because he was already like a radio fan, right?
Yeah, he used to call the radio station. My first radio station was 93.1. This was my power days, so power 93. He would call, and I mean, he has that distinct voice.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, can I make a request? This is Marvin, and I'm like, all right, cool. And Then one time they visited the station with some like classmates,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, yeah, they were very young. They were second year high school students, and we became friends because he would call a lot. And when Power disappeared, when it got disbanded,
Yeah.
and we changed format, he started listening to 91.5, which was K Light at that time. He became friends with Gabby and the rest of the K91 crew. But eventually, I joined K91 with Joe Fisher, who was Wally Brown at that time, and yeah, so the relationship continued up until like I joined Killer B, and yeah, and he was older at that time,
Yeah. For the
so
people
it's
wondering
really
who we're
amazing.
talking about, we're talking about
Oh,
Marvin.
your
He's
mama.
a friend of our friend from way back. I met my wife through Marvin, through Iceman, and through Marvin because of their friendship. And Marvin is like a good friend of my wifey. In fact, I think Marvin is one of Raj's ninongs. So you're actually like compare,
Oh,
kumare with
really?
Marvin. Yeah, yeah, because Marvin, Joe, Dexter, those are the ninongs of Raj. Uncle, remember Uncle? The late Uncle? The big black dude who used to come to the station and bring pizza?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, he's also Raj's ninong.
Holy crap! He died.
He died already, yeah. He did. Probably
Holy
10 years
shit!
ago already. Probably 10 years ago already.
Holy crap!
Jayo, can I borrow a spoon, anak?
I remember him. I I don't seem to remember the face anymore, but I do remember him. I remember Uncle. He would drop by the station,
Yeah,
and he
bring
would even
pizza.
join our conversation. He would
Yes.
bring some pizza.
Big guy.
I forgot what he looked like.
Big dude. He was about probably 6'4", and he's like he's African American. I don't think he's African American. He's like he's black, but I know he's part like Native American. That's why he didn't look like African American. He looked like Native American black kind of. If that even makes sense. And he was like managing some bands and some talents and stuff, and was really heavily promoting them at malls and all. And just became a friend. And he was the only one. He was the only one who actually attended the like the seminar for the ninongs and ninangs, because one of the ninangs showed up, and then one he showed up. So there was only one required by the church. So it was like the night before the christening, and he was the one who showed up on behalf of the ninongs. So I appreciated that, and he led the prayer during the lunch at home. And you're already in Japan, right? This was 2012. Yeah, maybe.
Around that time, yeah,
Yeah. You left 2006. What year?
2007, August
Damn.
31st.
Dang. Dude, you left like in the middle of the height of
Dude,
the show.
I'm going to leave my job for 15 years now. This is like a
Yeah,
different job we're talking about.
I
And
know.
that job I had, I think I held it for about 10 years or so since I started. Because I started out 1997. Though it was on and off, but it was, like I consider it like, um, uh, you know, uh, no, it was on and off, but I would consider it like the whole 10 years because I never stopped being a radio DJ.
Yeah, it was
You know,
continuous.
I
Yeah.
had I had some timeouts, but I would still do some gigs, like some hosting gigs, and I would do like some voiceovers and shit. So it seems continuous, in a way.
Yeah.
So I had that for about 10 years, but then now I'm quitting this, or I'm not I'm leaving this job that I've had for 15 years, onto a different version of it. So yeah, it's been that long. I can't believe it's been
Okay.
that long.
In line with our topic, does that is that something that contributes to you being more youthful, or does that add to your aging? Because I mean, we're talking about the fountain of youth here, so we're gonna talk about things that we experience, things that we do, our mindset, the people surrounding us, that can help sort of create the fountain of youth. Because Obviously, physically healthy, that's a different thing. Like you go to the gym, you eat healthy, you take supplements, you eat vegetables and all that stuff. That's kind of like a given already. Everybody knows you want to be tip top shape. You got to eat healthy, you got to live healthy, you got to exercise. That's a given. But we're talking about the other factors in our lives that I guess delay that can help delay aging. Because there are a lot of things that mainly probably the one that causes or speeds up the process of aging for the most part outside of living an unhealthy lifestyle is probably stress. And so we would probably consider a lot of things in our lives that are not stressful to at least delay aging. So we're gonna talk about that stuff. So like you like your situation now, right? I know, I know when you left radio after, especially at the peak of that show that we had, which is this is sort of like an offshoot of that. It was such a big deal to us when we were going through it. It was such a groundbreaking thing, I guess, for both of us. Even though you've been in radio longer, when we had that nightly show, because I really felt like no one else was doing it at that level, especially here in Davao. I know there are a lot of those shows in Manila, but like we were really touching an audience that wasn't really, for the most part, maybe the masa stations were doing it, but it was a different kind of interaction and audience altogether. And ours was just different, and it just clicked, and everything was falling into place, and and then you left, not because you wanted to. Well, maybe in a way, deeply rooted inside of you, you were thinking it's something you had to do, but at the same time, not at that time. Probably if you were to do it, you'd be like, can I delay this for a couple more years? If I have to go and leave for Japan. So that probably aged you, right? I mean, that's that initial, the stress that you went through, the setbacks that you went through with work. That probably like aged you a little bit, or did that when you arrived in Japan? Did that like
No, it was mostly
make?
because I kind of lost track of you know what I was eating, and I wasn't really doing a lot of exercise. So I kind of like bloated a bit. Then I realized that one day when I tried to tie my shoe and it couldn't. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, holy fuck. I mean, this is not me. So I just like started, like I immediately started running and going to the gym and eating less and, losing the soft drinks and stuff. And I would just like drink tea. Then I got back in shape. And for the most part, it's more of, I think that the secret to it is to keep doing young or youthful things, right? Like if you go with the trend, I think you would, in some ways you would be able to blend in, right? The way the youngsters dress, if you're not scared to like, all right, fine, I'll try it out. Because some people would be like, all right, I'm at this age, maybe I should start, acting or looking like my age. That's when it starts. You start to really look old because you're feeling it and you're
Yeah,
actually looking like it and you're acting like it.
yeah,
But as long as you try to, I think, I believe, as long as you try to blend in and try to like stay youthful, do what the young people. I mean, you don't do what they do, but it's more of like if you're there and you know what's up. I think that would like hold or stop aging a bit, at least I mean on the outside.
yeah. You're always kind of in touch with what's new, right? It's like you don't have to be necessarily following it. Like for example, like the K-pop explosion and all that. I mean, I don't know if you're following it or whatnot, but I mean, I'm still a fan of Depeche Mode, and that's obviously showing my age. And you're still a fan of the Backstreet Boys and whatever. And if you're a Backstreet Boys fan, that's already showing your age. It's hard to imagine, but that is already showing your age.
Hmm.
And now of course you have like the Backstreet Boys, and you have like Olivia Rodrigo and all these like new artists popping out, and like all these rappers with names that we can't even memorize anymore, and so many of them. I like my son's music, you know but I still like I can relate to it. Like I can listen to it. I know a little bit about it. Maybe if we were still both in radio, we'd probably be very very familiar with it. And I think that's case in point, radio. That contributed a lot in the delaying of our aging. I think for most of us, I'm not necessarily saying that all of us look much younger than our contemporaries, but for the most part, considering like we were all, well, yeah, most of us were like in our 30s already during the peak of our careers. Some of us in our late 30s, some of us in our 40s already, and to still be catering to an audience that's predominantly like high school and college, and not feel alienated by our audience, and the audience not feeling like we were too far ahead of them. So we met them halfway, and I think radio did that to us because it's not the fact that it's radio; it's the fact that we were catering to young people's music. That was the genre. That was the market. That was the target audience. We were playing pop music, and so basically, for the people our age, that's why a lot of my friends, a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my batchmates, really a lot of them did not even know I was in radio because they were really not the target market. And a lot of them did not listen to a radio station. A lot of them listened to oldies. A lot of them listened to, City Light, which was like, or not City Light, but crossover, which was like, jazz and stuff. And a lot of them listened to like classic stations, and not very many of them would still be listening to like Justin Bieber and stuff. And a lot of them would only probably find out about our station because their children were listening to it on their way to school. It was basically, we were basically catering to our colleagues' kids, right? So the children of our friends were actually people our age were actually listening to us. So we were like, excuse me, we were like their DJs. Whereas our friends were already doing like they had like real life, real world jobs. Are you playing? Oh, you're gonna watch?
No, I want to play.
And yeah, so I think that really delayed aging, especially for me, because if I didn't dip my toes in radio and had that as my career for almost 2 decades, and just went through a normal career path of like oh, you're a management graduate, or you took up commerce or whatever, I probably would have been like manager at KFC, and then had that for a couple of years, and then maybe applied at Unilever or somewhere, or Procter and Gamble, and maybe one of my friends would hook me up and maybe end up in San Miguel or any of that stuff. That's usually the route, right? That's usually like if you follow a particular career path based in your college degree or whatever it is that you studied for, you know. But we went by our skills. We were personality driven, and I don't know if it's a talent. And we did that for a good chunk of our lives, and it kept us on our toes. I mean, you of all of us, I think you're the most youthful looking one. Well,
Well, I'm the
you
smallest,
and
so
you're also like the youngest, right? Weren't you?
the
For the
youngest, the
core,
smallest, the
were you okay? Are you younger than Billy Kane?
yeah, of course I am.
Okay. No, no, no. I mean, I know you look like you're younger than Billy. I look younger than Billy Kane. I mean, you're basing it on like
No,
how he dressed up and
I'm
everything.
no, I'm younger
But
because
I
Billy Kane
know
and Joe are they of the same age?
no. Joe's like closer to me.
All right,
Oh no, no, no,
so
no, no, no. I think they are because they went to school together, didn't they?
yeah, they went to school together, and I
Okay,
think
maybe they are. Okay,
Billy Kane borrowed Joe's skateboard,
and never give it back.
yeah, never gave it back. So
That
I
story.
would assume that they were like like the
Yeah, yeah,
same
they were
age.
buddies. They were
So
buddies.
I
Yeah.
think Joe is about 3 years older than I am. I think
Yeah,
I
Joe's probably like 47 now, or 46, somewhere. I would say Joe. I don't know if Joe's 3 years
I
younger
think
than I
he's
am.
1976, right? Is he 1976 or
Okay, he's
1975?
probably 76 or probably
I think he's
76. So
75. Are you sure he's not 75? I think he's 75. If he's 75, he's 3 years. He's three
no, no,
years older. I'm like, I'm
I
78.
You have a spoon.
I
So
love
it could
you.
be he's like 2 years older or 3 years older.
Yeah, I know Joe's younger than I am. Probably 3 years. I'm not sure, 2 or 3 years.
I'm
I know he's younger
78.
than I am.
He could be 75 or 76. so 2 or 3 years older,
Okay. So you
right?
were like
So
the young one. So Iceman was the young one. And when you think about it, you were personality wise, mindset wise, responsibility wise, you were not exactly the most immature. You were one of the mature ones actually in terms of the responsibility that you took on and your mindset and your work ethic and how professional you were and your experience in life in general, having had different jobs and having had a teaching job and all that stuff. Like a lot of us didn't have that. I mean, I don't think Mao ever had a real job like of that sort. I mean, I've had a couple of jobs close to that. I worked at a real estate. I worked at all that stuff. But some of us probably never really had like I don't know if Billy Kane had a real job before that.
mhm.
Joe, I don't know. So most of them probably just did radio and that's it. Some of us had a little background. You did, you multitask. You were a radio guy and you were also like a medical representative, and yeah, one time you were a teacher too. So it's not, but it kept you still look young though. So I'm trying to figure out if work really does a lot to stress people out and age people. Like, let's talk about this. Like one aspect of Fountain of Youth is your choice of a career, is the nature of your job, is the workload that you have, or the working conditions of the people you work with. Does that have a huge impact on how a person ages? I mean, can you honestly probably say that people who, when they started working for this company and went through this very stressful working condition, did they actually aged? Did it actually age you based on? I think it could.
It can, but well, I've seen a lot of DJs who looked like old,
Okay, okay.
right? So
All right, okay. You got me.
right,
You got me there. That's a good.
right, so I would say that it really
Okay,
depends on the person,
you're
but
right.
I think your environment has a factor. But because I've seen a lot of DJs who really looked old,
In
right?
fact, I think we're the minority
We
because
are the minority.
most of the DJs I know, like when you hear their voice and then you see them in person, I'm like, you're taken aback sometimes. I mean, this is not a knock on jocks, but this is a known fact. Like most people assume that DJs sound good but look terrible in person,
Right.
right? Like we're not necessarily TV celebrities. It's all about the voice. So when you really get hired as a DJ, nobody cares about how you look like. You have to sound good. So, oh, nice. Yeah. So the fact that it's like, yeah, the fact that you're right, man. You brought up a good point because I was like trying to, lift up the career of a DJ as like something that makes people look youthful and whatever.
Right.
But then you bring up the fact that there are a lot of DJs that actually like,
Yeah.
ah,
They're adaptable, right? So I would
mapalahubog
say
sagdaw, mapalahubog nung masunog baga.
you'd think that they're like the security or something. Like, oh, are they the
Technician,
dancer?
you can tell the
Like, yeah.
technician right? when
So,
dude, you're right.
so
I mean, it's not a knock. I'm just saying, it's actually a fact.
right.
Even Joey De
So
Leon admits to it.
right. So I think it's a mix of it's a mix of like your own personality and the environment factor and the kind of like workload that you have
Yeah,
in your job, like the nature
yeah,
of your work. So
yeah.
I think it does have an effect, but then I would say that it's mostly because of your perspective and your outlook in life and the way you live it. I think that plays a big part
Good point.
because
I agree.
yeah, you can
I
be
agree.
anything. You can be a banker, but if you're like you might probably like um look the part when you're like doing your job, but once you're out of the office and you start like dressing the way you dress casually, then like people would like, whoa, wow, you look way different than when you're like dressed for work or something. So I think it has the hairdo as well. Like me, even though I don't have hair anymore, I try to keep it. I try to keep it
It's in the USB.
um because usually with the hairdo, that that really says a lot about a person because people can just have like those like formal haircut, and there would be people who would be experimenting with things, like they would have haircuts like David Beckham or like Ronaldo or whatever, that's like the trend in like in pop
Yeah,
culture,
yeah.
and that would that would take you back. Like it will put your age down a bit, like a couple of years, or like
I
or
agree.
more.
I
You
agree.
would look young. The way you wear your shirt, the way you wear your shoes, the way you wear your cap, the kind of cap that you wear too, talks about or speaks about like your perspective in life. Like, all right, if you're really old. I mean, I've never tried those hat. Like those Michael Jackson hat. It is so popular in Japan. A lot of people are using it. I never tried
Yeah.
that because
Yeah. Yeah.
that shit makes you look old, man.
It's not a
Like it
fedora, right? What is that called? Is that a fedora?
no,
What is that called? Like, and I know what you're
just like
saying. Like
no,
the
like a
rim
kid
hat.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that hat. I call
Yeah.
it a hat. I don't call it a cap. I call it a hat. This is a hat
Yeah.
as well, but I mean that type of hat, the Michael Jackson hat, I would never dare wear it. It's like the V-neck. It's like your V-neck.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be that would be me if I wear that. Like somebody would tell me, dude, like don't wear that,
I know what you're
please.
saying. I know it's and there. Yeah. You know what? Okay. So from work to how you carry yourself, like your fashion sense, a lot of that. I agree. A lot of that has a role in aging you. Not necessarily just the perspective of others, but how you perceive yourself to be, right?
Hmm.
Because there are a lot of people out there who are old souls. They're young, but they don't
Right,
really
but they
go
look
through.
old.
They look old. They dress old. They listen to old music. They don't go through a young phase. Like one example is like CJ. CJ, my nephew, or my wife's nephew, but he's my nephew. He's my anak as well because we're all in one family, and he's I always called him Little Man Tate based on that movie with Jodie Foster from way back
Hmm.
about this kid who was always acting old. And I would always tell my wifey that, he's always Little Man Tate because, he talks to older people and he grew up with older people all his life, and the way he speaks and his interests are leaning towards what older people are into and not really what kids are into. And he was never really this kid who like played silly stuff. Like he was always like just organizing his toys, and I've observed him, and he doesn't really like do silly stuff like what Diego does, like typical kid stuff.
Hmm.
Doesn't put a bucket over his head or anything like that. And I think that some people are just born as old souls, and not necessarily that they look older because that's how they are. Because CJ still has a baby face, but just the way he dresses, the way he tries to carry himself, and of course his height now, he's like about 6 foot tall. He definitely does not look like he's 17. And if I compare myself, my 17-year-old self to CJ, who's 17 now, dude, I was like wearing hip hop clothes. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was trying to skateboard. I was a video gamer. I was all over the place. Whereas with him, he's like, he dresses more maturely than his dad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even more maturely than his grandfather, to be honest. He has that Ninong vibe. That,
Right.
that yeah, for those that don't know, like the Ninong vibe would be like naka-aviator sunglasses, karang Ray-Ban, slick back, usually a polo with like a pocket here, and usually like slacks or something, like just the Ninong vibe, and that kind of advances your age because of how you carry yourself and your fashion choice, like what Iceman said. I mean, I'm 49 years old. I still wear a cap. Ice is 45, whatever how old he is, and he still gets away with like color coordinated stuff, and it doesn't look like he's forcing it, right? Because I mean, I think we would tell each other that, dude, that's not bagay anymore. Like you don't look in it, and I think okay, that contributes to the fountain of youth in terms of the nature of work. Ice is right. I agree. It's not necessarily what you do because, to be honest, if some people were also doing what we were doing as DJs, which for us came naturally, and I guess, you know, presumably it was easy for most of us. It was fun for most of us. I mean, we did it that long for that amount of salary. It had to be fun. But for some people, maybe just sitting on the console and just like turning on the mic for 5 seconds, they're like dying already because it's the most stressful thing they've ever done in their lives. And so we can't really compare. Whereas maybe for some of us, trying to sell something or reaching a sales quota is the most stressful thing. Whereas for some people, it's natural. They basked in selling. They don't care about rejection. They don't care about being turned down. They'll just keep forcing it down people's throats. I know this one guy. I don't know his name, but I know how he looks like, and I'm sure you met him. His hair's always like this. He's always tucked in polo shirt. He's like kind of fair skinned and has a little bit of mustache, and he speaks in Tagalog or something, and he's always selling you this like promo coupons for like a restaurant or a hair salon, or he always approaches you like at the parking lot or something. And I don't know who this guy is, but for a long while in Davao, I would always see him at malls, and he would always approach me. Especially, don't, that's dirty, Jago. Especially if like I'm with my girlfriend, like he likes to approach women, and I don't know what this guy's name is. I don't know if some of you know him, but that guy has become a fixture because that's all he does. Like remember seeing him when I was in college. Hey, is that yours? Where are you eating that? And then I remember seeing him in college doing that already. And then I was already like working, and I think I was already married and already with a wife, and he's still doing the same thing. But he's like trying to you ask, he's like promoting like a different product now. It's like a hair salon or something. Like you get this many coupons, you pay like this amount, and he'll give you this like
Right.
booklet.
Like selling
Right?
those discount cards or something.
Yes,
Like
yes,
those
yes.
benefit
It's like
cards?
it's like a booklet, and it has like all these like coupons you can tear out, and he's still doing that. And you could never make me do something like that ever. Like there's no amount of money, I don't know, maybe depends, but it's not something I would it's definitely like at the bottom of the list of things I would do even if I was desperate. Because it's just I couldn't take the rejection of approaching somebody at a parking lot and offering them something, and just seeing you approach them, they're already ready to say no. Because I'm sure this guy has gotten a lot of that, because those things are not cheap. They're like 2,500 pesos if you buy the booklet, but it's actually worth it when you think about it. If you actually avail of it and you frequent the establishment that he's promoting, you get your money back right away. I mean, you really do in terms of the value that you get with the discount coupons and stuff. So he's not actually trying to rip you off, but it's just that for some people, they're just not ready to shell out that much money for an establishment or a service that they're not really used to. So that alone, like that he didn't age, to be honest. If I was doing that nature of job, trying to sell, stuff things down people's throat, I would probably age like 10 years.
I think it's about like liking
Still,
what you do.
it looks the same. Exactly the same. And that's a fairly stressful job. Okay, so fashion, nature of job. What about the people you surround yourself with? If you hang out with old people, do you become old like them?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Like, if you surround yourself with old people, that would make you look young because you're the youngest, right? And they're old. So that would be an advantage because you would stand out and you would really look way younger if you're hanging out with old people, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like the conversations you will have, because like I
Nah, I
work.
don't believe that.
No, because I had this job one time, and it was like a real. It's not a real estate company, but they're more of like a company that buys property and then resells it and develops it and like sells it as like a village or subdivision or something. So they would buy properties and they would develop that. And that was my nature of work. And most of the people working there were like older than me and more seasoned. It's almost like working at like the city engineer's office, or working at BIR or something, or working at the Sangguniang Panglungsod. I mean, if you look at the employees there, I mean, these people are like seasoned employees, government employees. So I was like all of a sudden thrown into that fresh out of college. And they have like this lady who comes in regularly, and you're gonna make a mess, anak. Come on. Anyway, so it's like like she comes in and she's like this Avon lady, and everybody like kind of like automatically has a loan with her because they ordered something. And then at a certain time, this merienda lady would come in. They already have a routine. None of them go out. None of them, So I was like the only one going out across the street to eat the chikis and patties, because I'm like, I'm not gonna eat like this lumpia thing here or whatever. So my mindset was different, and they were all like just talking about different stuff that I really couldn't relate. Especially someone fresh out of college. So I quit that job. Not necessarily because of the pay. The pay was okay. The job wasn't that hard. I was just like dealing with land titles, and I was just basically rearranging them and organizing them and stuff. But it was like the people I was with, they were also kind of treated. I felt discriminated. because they all felt like I only I only like kind of was there because somebody hooked me up with that job. It wasn't like I went through the natural progression of like being a clerk and all that. Maybe because I already had a desk right away, and yeah, so maybe that plays a role. But in terms of how people see you, and you're hanging out with old people, and you look the youngest, then
You would probably act old if you hang out with a lot of like old people, because you would get their vibe. But in terms of the way you look, I think it would still well, if you adapt to their way of dressing,
yeah.
then that would age you. But if you don't, then I don't think that would happen.
But wasn't that the case with our friends though? Like our friends who like let's say we graduated with or we went to school with, and then they went to work at San Miguel, and they're like, I started working with like these guys who are like seasoned salesmen, and like they go to like Agdao to eat bulalo every lunch, and they're always like, they go to GRO places and stuff because it's the only way they can hook up with girls, I guess, outside of their marriage or whatever, and they don't really party. They don't really like, and they hang out together. I noticed that a lot of my friends who went that route, like when I see them with their like, I guess because all the salesman guys wear the same thing. They have this like polo with like a San Miguel logo on it. So I guess you can't really tell what their fashion sense is. But they all kind of start to look alike, and they don't look like they're in shape. And I was like, it's because maybe because of the people they're with. Some of them are riding in a panel truck, going around, to check up on their products.
Yeah, that could be it. But I think it's more of the lifestyle that they live, because most of them would just like, all right, let's meet up after work, let's drink. So that's what happens. They drink every day, and they get that like beer belly.
And the age range, right? Some are 60, some are 50. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
they're
but
not.
they
It's
look the
not like
same.
they're all. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah, but they all look the same, right? Like they have that
Yeah.
profile, because it's because of the way they live their lives. It's like they meet up, they eat a lot, they have so much free time because they're in sales. They don't they don't have a fixed time. So every time that there's a chance, they would like sit down, drink some coffee, eat food, eat snacks. Then night comes, they'd start drinking. Then all the pulutan and shit. So yeah, that's gonna age you,
Yeah, she keeps me
right?
young because she
I
takes all the
know. Well, yeah,
stress.
because really,
She absorbs all the stress.
yeah.
I
But well,
mean,
she still looks young, so I don't think there's
and
like
she doesn't stress me out. Like we'll have our fights, we'll have our arguments, we'll have our days, but dude, for like what, the 14, 15 years we've been together, like I can count on one hand how many times we've had like a big major argument and whatever. It's like I can count. And I understand her point. Like she's never gonna be at fault. It's always gonna be my fault. And I know that. It's a given fact because I know myself. And she puts me in my place. And so I she keeps me on my toes because I know how she feels and how she stresses out, and I feel bad about it. But at the same time, she doesn't really like remind me every day. Like she'll just have this one day where she'll explode. But she doesn't like every day she's like, hating me, negative vibe, negative vibes. No, I'm gonna get old. If that's the kind of person I live with. And I think she's the same way. If I'm always, because I can be a stressful person too. I'm always grouchy. I'm always yelling at the kids. I'm always kind of like impatient. But the fact that she's young and she still has that. Well, she's younger than me. She's not young. She's 39. But just the fact that she still has that level of, I guess, mental youth compared to maybe if I was with a woman who was my age, would be going through what's that stage when they can't have babies anymore?
menopausal stage.
Menopausal stage, dude. And I'm like grouchy ass because I'm about to be 50, dude. That's gonna be different. It's just we're not. But she's not that way, and I thank her for that. I'll take the once in a while explosion thing rather than the everyday dealing with a bitch kind of thing. Anytime, and and I know I have it coming. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. Since we're talking about people you spend your time with, yeah, people you spend your time with at work is one thing, but people you spend your life with, like a wife or a husband, dude, I think you can agree with me that we know some girls who were so hot when they were in college, and then we find out that they're like in this marriage, and we know that it's hearsay and stuff, rumors and stuff, and you hear about like how the husband's like this or how like the marriage is like this, and then you see her, and she's just like she's a shell of the hot chick that she was when she was in college. I mean, can you think? I'm not gonna say mention her who she is, but can you think off the top of your head if you know somebody like that who like she aged because of the marriage?
Yeah, I think I have a few people in mind. Um, yeah, cause yeah, yeah, I have a few. I have a few. You'd be like, holy crap, whatever happened to this person,
And you
right?
kind of have an idea that the marriage isn't really going great, or that maybe they even went their separate ways, right? Because you're not attributing it to that per se, but you're thinking she does not look like she's in a happy situation. Because there's this girl that I courted one time, and she was really, really pretty, and I courted her, and then she dumped me for this pilot guy, and she did not end up with the pilot guy. She ended up with this dude who I heard was like a drug addict or something, and so I haven't seen this girl in a long time. I just know that she ended up with this guy who kind of like had issues, with substance abuse, and I don't know the guy she married, but that's what I was told by a friend because she knew the husband. And when I saw her one time at Victoria Plaza, I think withdrawing money, it was I haven't seen her since like college, and she saw me, and she was kind of like I said hi, and she kind of looked embarrassed, because she was kind of haggard looking, she was kind of like stressed out, and she looked like she hasn't had sleep or whatever, and maybe I looked kind of, like a maybe I looked more youthful than she probably would have expected because it took her a while to realize it was me, and I immediately realized it was her. But she had this kind of like embarrassed kind of thing where she had to scurry off. And I was thinking about maybe having a little small talk or something, and she had to scurry off, and I was like, dang, maybe it's true. What I heard about the situation that she was in and the marriage that she was in and whatnot. That it did have an effect on her.
Well, definitely that could have a big effect on like on the
So you
individual.
look young, so you have a excellent sex life. Is that what it means?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but it's
Dude,
more of like
you've had your issues, but you look good. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like we haven't been perfect situations, but you look good, man. Like you don't look like you. It's probably not something you stress over. You look like
well,
you look.
well to I'm in a place where I'm like I'm comfortable. Like I want to be in
And she
because
looks
here's
good
the thing.
too. I know you
Yeah,
guys two went through a lot, but you both look
we
good.
always talk about it. We always talk like we shouldn't be like those couples who look like they already gave up in life, right? So we always
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So that's our motto. We cannot be we cannot look like we gave up on life because that's
And
the
it
worst thing that
works.
can ever happen to you, right? So we try to um to keep healthy and be fit. But it's also if you want to be in that in that partnership, in that marriage or whatever you call it, right? It's mainly that I like where I am now. I love my family, like we all love our families. But like there are people like, oh, I love my family, but I don't want to see them. They're like people like that, right?
Yeah.
Like hardworking fathers who'd be like, "All right, I'll work my ass off. I don't want to see my kids because they're pests and they're nuisance. I just want to provide. I just want to give them what they need, but I don't want to. I don't want anything to do with them." They're like people like that. But me, I'm like, no, I want to see them. Like, yeah, I will work my ass off, but I would also want to see them, and
Yeah.
I want to be with them. Because there are people like who don't want to be with their families because
Yeah.
that's just funny, and it's a thing here in Japan. So that can age you because like it seems like you're not really into um, your situation. You don't want to be where you're supposed to be
So you're constantly unhappy or stressed out because like you're in this prison, right? This this
because you
this
feel like you're in prison. Yes. So I think I think that's a thing. But if you like where you are, if you love, like the people around you, especially family, I think that would, that would keep you, that would keep the stress off. And even if you have like bad stuff coming, you'd still be able to deal with it. Like I told you, like last week I had a really terrible week,
You couldn't
but
sleep. You didn't
I
sleep.
couldn't sleep. And but eventually, I mean, sometimes I don't like the way my wife approaches things, because sometimes she treats me like a baby, and I don't like that.
She'll pamper you.
Um, so I, but
Dude, I love that.
yeah, but yeah, me, I hate it.
Lucky bastard.
So, so I don't like that. So I kind of like try to tell her, like, can you like deal with me in this way, like in this manner, and she would. But I think she really cares for me in terms of, I don't think she wants to see me in a, like in a difficult position right now. Like not getting some sleep or whatever. Me, I like to toughen people up. I like, even with snow, I don't treat her like a baby.
Oh, I know, baby them,
So,
yeah.
like I toughen them up. I'm like, like even when she went through the same thing that I did, like, or that I'm going through right now. She went she went through it like years ago, 4 years ago, and I was really hard on her. And now she's laughing at me because she's like, "Oh, I was there like 4 years ago exactly. You can't sleep. You're like you're in like in anticipation. Like you don't know what's coming and whatever."
Yeah.
And but she's like, "You're gonna be fine." She's telling me you're gonna, and in me, I know I'm gonna be fine. I just need somebody to like walk me through it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I miss Yoda. It's a good thing that we're talking. My like my buddies, like my buddies, because they know how to approach things. Like like they know how to set my perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas with my wife, she babies me, and she would like come up with solutions that are not really solutions, because no, that's not the way to solve it. Like I need to toughen up and I need to face this. You
Yeah.
just need to help me out with that. You cannot be like, all right, oh, you look so, like you look so pitiful. All right, I'll help you out. I'll do everything. But no, you can't do that. You have to like just guide me through it. I know what to do. You just have to assure. I just need that assurance that you're doing the right thing. All right, and that's what friends do. Like that's what we do with our friends. Like, oh man, you're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Like, like that type. But my wife, I think she doesn't have that threshold. Like
Mm-hmm.
she sees me like this morning. I woke up really early, and I woke up around 5 or something. Partly because of like, oh man, and the anticipation or whatever. Like I'm gonna be changing jobs, in
Yeah.
a few weeks. So it's like when she woke up because she was going to pee, and she was like, "What? Did you sleep? Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I slept. I just like woke up too because I went to the toilet, but I couldn't go back to sleep because I started thinking again."
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's the thing. But because like she really tries her best, and she like she helps me out, and we try to deal with it together, so it makes it easier. So the
You,
stress
you
that's there
you
will
guys are good for each other, man. You guys are good just based on how you guys look, like through the years and everything. I mean, you guys look like you haven't aged. Like I saw the recent pictures with Marvin, and I'm like, you two didn't you just like you just threw in like snow in there, but like you two exactly the same like you did back then. I mean, with my wifey and I, yeah, maybe our weights have fluctuated. Sometimes we're both big, sometimes she's big, sometimes I'm big. But I can honestly really say that like you don't really the proof is in the pudding. Like for example with you, it's like you don't have to do anything or exert anything or prove anything or be showing anything to people to show that maybe we're good for each other, because the track record shows it. Like you just let the bricks fall where they may, and it's just things are falling. Like you guys now have a home. You guys now have this beautiful child. You guys now have your careers thing, and it's like it's still working in spite of what agreements you've gone through, what disagreements you've gone through. It's still there. You still look predominantly good. You survived a near death. She went through a lot of emotional and career ups and downs and whatnot, but you're there and it still works. And if you guys retrace your history, dude, you guys have history. I mean, literally, if you think back to your past, it's still her. Like you think your future, it's her. So it's kind of like regardless of what happens. So I'm a true believer of that. Like with you, that's kind of how you are. You're like, yeah, you don't really want to worry about things beyond your control, and it's just that the proof is there. Same with me. It's like I'm not when people ask me, when people ask me, like, dude, I don't know, I don't really know if people. I don't think if I've been asked if I'm happy in my marriage because usually people will ask me that if they see that I'm not happy. You don't really ask a friend, "Are you happy in your marriage?" If you know they're happy. So that in itself, I think already is a sign that people see that I'm happy in my marriage. Mainly because I know for a fact that I don't have the urge to go out. I don't get as excited to, right? Because if you're unhappy at home, dude, there's nothing more you want than to go out. I still get excited when I go out with Chuck and Joe. I still check out, the new sights and sounds and whatnot. I'm not oblivious to that. But like just initially me just sitting here and going, I want to go out or I want to explore. I don't, I just don't have that urge. And I don't, maybe people will say maybe it's because of the kids. But you know what? It's the game sucks.
It's kind of hard.
Oh yeah, it's the entirety. It's you know what I'm saying. It's like, and she tells me to go out. She tells me to go. She says, "You go out." Like why don't you go see Mao? Why don't you hang out with your friends?
She's the one who wants you out of the house.
She wants me out of the house. Maybe she's got something going on with a neighbor or whatever. No, but I mean, no. It's like she does because she feels like she doesn't want to feel responsible for. I might like throw it against her. I might be like, oh, because my wifey doesn't want to, or she doesn't want my friends to have the impression that she doesn't want to. She doesn't let me out. That she doesn't give me that freedom. She does, but because I have this certain contentment, and come on, right? I mean, let's say I have the urge to go out. Let's say I'm checking out some, whatever sites on my Facebook feeds or whatever. And then you see your wife like working out, like, like she does, I'm like, okay, all right, forget it. Why would I go out there and risk a lot of shit? Look at my wife, she's working out. I'll just watch her working out. I'm turned on already. I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know if she's working out for me or she's working out for herself. I think she's doing it for herself, to be honest. But it's just that, she gets my motor running. And once your motor is running at home, you run out of gas. You don't really have gas to go out anymore. But if your gas is full because you haven't, at home, that's when you have that urge. But I still get excited. Like if like right now, I can still message Mao and say, dude, let's go out. Like if I say that, we will go out. Because I'm usually the initiator. Because Joe and Mao, they see each other almost every day, I guess, at work. But they don't really have that, just the two of them, maybe they have drinks when they have meetings with the bosses or something. But with me, if I bring it up, I'm like, it's a different chemistry with us, man. And the more the merrier. Like if it's just Joe and Mao, like, yeah, it's okay. Or if it's just me and Mao, yeah, something's missing. If it's you and me, maybe because we can talk all night. But like if it's just me and Joe, like our conversations would be really short and quick. But if it's like, right? But if it's like three of us,
It
and
would
then,
be.
right? If three of us, and then boom, Billy Kane shows up, and then,
Yeah.
and then
That
you know
would
what I'm
be a
saying?
night.
Right? That would be a night. That would be a night.
Yes, I do believe that.
And I'm pretty sure your homies will show up because we all hang out in the same places, and we all do the same
I
crap.
miss those times. I miss those
I
times.
miss it, dude. Trust me, I haven't been getting it. Oh my
Torres.
god.
Right before I left, we went
Streets.
to Like what was that? Yantis? What was that?
Yeah. We were with
Yankees?
we were with company then. I don't remember that. Was that the one when we were with company?
I don't like. Yeah, I think we had some.
That wasn't
business
just
there.
us. That wasn't just us.
No. I think Billy Kane was like, "All right, I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna get some gift certs and let's have like a party."
Yeah,
there." So Billy Kane, like,
yeah.
in a way, like asked for, those gift certs. So in a way, he sponsored it, and we were there, and we had some guests. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we
I
did.
mean, that was a cool night. But right before that, there were like string of, night outs that we did, and we would like go home early in the morning. My dad
Oh
was so
my
pissed
god,
because my dad, like, that was the first time my dad got my dad got pissed at me
dude,
for
when you
going
come
out.
home, we're gonna raid all the bars. There's so many now. There's this place called Hearsay. I mean, it's like packed. I mean, just like, dude, before you come home, you better let me know because I need to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll actually prepare for that shit. You know, like, because I mean,
That
you
would
gotta,
probably be
dude,
December.
we
I was
gotta be
planning to come
all,
home.
we have to be slim. All of us have to be slim. We can't go out there like looking like we've lost it because we're not on radio anymore.
It looks like it's gonna be in December. I was thinking of coming home this spring break, but my brother is coming home in December, so I'm like, all right, fine. Like my
Oh, you
mom's
got,
like,
okay,
don't come
cool,
home. So
cool.
my brother's coming home, so it should be December.
December's
And I'm
good.
like, there's just like so much going on right now. I'm just like, crap. I need to adjust to my new job. I'm like, oh my god.
Just let me know when in December because we're planning to visit my dad. So if it's early December or mid part of December, because I want to be able to, I'd be hanging out with you. I want to be here when you come home because I know Joe and Mao and Billy Kane. Those guys are like those guys are ready anytime. You know, it's just that we have a Viber group. I'll add you, by the way. We now have a Viber group, but it's just I think the three of us. I don't know if Billy Kane's a part of it, but I'll add you. I'll add you to that Viber group because that's where we do the sharing. It's like
Anything
it's
still
like the
going on? Oh my
it's
god.
like the
After all
Killer
these
Bee.
years.
Oh, dude, come on, man! It's still, you know what? Hey, come
That
on.
would be weird because when we get together, it seems like it was, like everything was just yesterday. Like I would come in right after Billy Kane, and and he would like say the darndest thing, like Billy Kane, like you'd like, oh, and it would be so funny, and I
I know,
really
I know, I
appreciate the
know.
guy because there was this, like this thing that like unfolded back when I was there. There was this
And he
big
had your
drama,
back. And he had your back.
and yeah, and he didn't believe what he heard from other people. And it was like, dude, don't worry about it. Like I know you, we work together. I know you as a person, so I won't buy any of this shit that I hear from people that I don't know.
Yeah,
And I'm
because he
like,
knows you.
give me props for that. I know.
And I know Billy Kane. That guy has a temper. That guy had a, he'll fight people. Like that guy, he has that crazy. But if he knows somebody, he's not, he's a pretty good judge of character. And
I know, right? So I
between,
like, yeah, I give him props for that. He was like, I went to him and I told him about it. He was like, yeah, like you know what? Don't worry about it. Like I know you, man. Like all these things, nah. Like that won't bother me.
and you know what I love about our group? It's like, we can be any, like we are all different people. Maybe could be different people with our different friends. We could
Hmm.
be certain person when we're with our family. But when we're together as that group, we all kind of know who we are and what role we play. Like, right?
Hmm.
If we're at a bar, and Billy Kane shows up, hey, bro! Like, we know immediately, like, we know how to put him in his best light.
Hmm.
And I know how to put you in your best light. And you know how to put me in my best light. We're not here to bring each other down and compete with each other. We're here to sort of like make sure everybody gets his share, right?
Right.
At least that's
Right.
my mindset. That's my mindset. I'm like, everybody has to be. I'm not here for myself. Like, I'm not gonna use.
No. No,
No, we're
I've never saw it as a competition. Never, ever.
no,
It's
no.
more of like when somebody steps in the station, I know who that chick is gonna fall for. It's like, oh, this chick, the profile, yeah, she like Billy Kane, she like Rod, or she like whoever. But like
Yeah.
there are times that there would be like
Dude, but
the other
there are a
girls.
couple of girls I want to do a couple with. They hooked up with you, dude, and you're like lucky bastard. Like, what the heck? What the heck, man? I
But
mean,
to be
even
honest,
and you know
I
what I'm
wasn't
talking.
expecting
You know
that.
what I'm talking about. I mean,
Yeah,
even Ian's idea was like, what? I'm like,
yeah.
"Ye-
I would, to be honest, I wasn't expecting that.
dude, I
I
was
didn't
like,
I didn't
damn.
expect that. I didn't
You know what I'm
even see
saying?
it coming.
Like,
And
what the
I
heck was
noticed
that?
late. I noticed late. I was like, "Holy
What?
shit!" I couldn't believe it myself. But
Like,
yeah, that
no,
happened.
no, 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 not
That
not a
happened.
not a knock on you, but it's just that level of that girl. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, like how she looked. She had those doe eyes, and I
I
just
know.
did not
It could be
expect that
because
she had
how.
that side. Like, and you brought it out.
No, I
You
think it's
know?
because like I just acted cool about things because I wasn't really expecting anything. I wasn't gunning for anything or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So I was just like keeping
No,
it
no, no.
cool,
You were just
whatever.
her
And then like,
type. You were just her type. I mean,
nah,
like I didn't make a move. I didn't literally do anything, but like I didn't have any encouragement to do so. And I'm kind of like that guy. Like we're all kind of that guy. Like we all kind of try to feel it out first. That's why I went through the Marvin route. Like I text Marvin first before, and then I asked for a number and stuff. I didn't really go directly to her, to my wifey. I'm talking about, and And so I went to the Marvin route first because she didn't really show me anything. Like she really didn't. Like because my wifey is the same woman as she is with everyone, even up to now. Like if we hang out with like guy friends and she has like guy friends, or she's exactly the same way with like all guys. She's not like the type of girl with like special treatment a guy where you can kind of sense that okay maybe she likes this dude. No, she's like kind of the same way with all guys. I mean,
One of the
so
he's one of the boys.
she's one of the boys. She has three freaking brothers, you know. So she's kind of like, and that's why for me it's like, okay, this is kind of hard to read, but but I guess I really had nothing to lose at the time too because I was like in a relationship that was like, what the heck is this? So I wasn't really afraid to lose anything, like, and I took a shot at it, and but like with you, man, it's like. Dude, I was like, dude, there were a couple of girls. There were a couple that I was like, holy crap, like, because I mean, if I compare to the other jocks, like, Billy's taste is not really my taste. You know what I'm saying? Like, even Mao would be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Joe kind of like has his own thing too. You know what I'm saying? We're the ones who are more of like we kind of have the same, right? Like we're the ones who are like, even
The ones
Mao
in the
is,
pop
yeah,
in the
and Mao
pop
is, and
pop
Mao's the type. Yes,
pop
and Mao,
pop category.
yeah, the like the
We're like
normal,
in the
like
rock
the typical.
grunge category, but we're like in the
Billy
category.
Kane's kind of like the like
The
the mommy
oldies,
category.
oldies but goodies category, right? Chuck's the
Yeah, Chuck's like the kind of like so chalera kind of
yeah.
model type, but Chuck wants to join in on us. Like he's he gets if he could be with anybody, we're the ones he would trust more in terms of
True.
just like our, but if our wives are listening, this is way back. This was before we all got married. Sure.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Yeah,
Okay. So
but that keeps you young. That's also part of being
yeah, it does
youthful.
keep you young. Like your crew, they keep you young.
Your
Yeah.
balls
So
still get hot. That's
yeah.
important. I mean, not to give sexual talk here, but I'm just saying it's like, yeah, you can be married and still like, check. I mean, it depends. Like my wife doesn't care if I watch TikTok babes. She knows I'm not gonna marry or leave our marriage for that. Like it's just because I know that I'm pretty sure she also has this K-pop crushes. I'm sure she watches these Korean dramas and lust for these guys as well. But what are the chances of those guys, jumping out of Netflix and into her arms? I mean, I'm not threatened by it. And if she does replace me for those guys, I would understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I were her, I'd probably do that too. Rod or Hollywood celebrity. You know what I'm saying? It's like I mean, I don't see myself that high to not think of any guy as a threat. But yeah, I'll put the hard drive in. We're almost done. We're done. We're gonna close out the show. So all
All
right.
right.
So it's I know it's 10 o'clock there. So when are we doing the next show and what's the episode about?
Um,
We'll come up.
all
You
right.
decide the topic on the next episode
All right. Okay.
because
I'll
I
put the phone.
decided this one. I
All
decided
right.
this one.
Okay.
You decide.
So all right. So let's do one on what like should we do Saturday or should we do Friday?
I think I'm open on Saturday. I don't think I have a. Well, okay, hold on. Today, hold on. What is it today? Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday today.
Okay. Don't you have basketball?
No, I was still feeling some stuff, so I'm like I tried to like I've been like I did like basketball like last week and the week before that, but I'm trying to like skip this week because I'm like there's like something that I felt, so I'm like I'm trying to if it's a post concussion, so I'm like no, I don't want to risk it, so no basketball for me this week. So I'm
Okay.
I'm, I'm good.
Okay. Probably most likely probably Saturday because
Saturday.
yeah, because Friday might because like Friday still has his class, so maybe after we might. No, you have your practice, right? Love you, baby. Love you. Oh my god, that's the best feeling in the world. Your 3-year-old yelling at you, "Love you, daddy." After he takes his, pre-sleep bath. Love you, knock. Like why would I trade this for beers with Mao? You know what I'm saying? Mao would be like,
Yeah.
dude,
Why would
dude,
you? Yeah.
dude.
Why would you?
No, I love my friends, man. They give me a different high. Your
That's
friends
true.
give you a different high. Your family gives you
Yeah,
a different high.
it's true. It's I'm with you on that.
There's nothing
Uh,
like the feeling of driving your car and you're all cologned out and you're like headed to the bar and you're like,
right.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Cheers.
You're
Cheers.
like, yeah, it's a different feeling, man. Like I miss that. Like I don't do that as often, but hopefully we get to do that December. All right, man. So probably Saturday.
Saturday. Saturday. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Let's do Saturday. Thanks a lot for joining us. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you again on Saturday. Yeah.
Like what Iceman said, just to conclude the topic, it's the mindset. All right.
It's mindset.
A,
Like
a toxic
it's all
job for
about
one
the mindset.
person might not be toxic for you.
Yeah.
It's your mindset, how you approach things, how you deal with things. I mean, we all go through stress, but if you can overcome that, you'll save yourself a lot of aging.
It's
You'll
you
turn,
can keep yourself stay look young. And there's no one else, and there's nothing else.
yeah,
So yeah. Plus like all those things that my wife eats or drinks, like all those Q10 things.
yeah,
Like she'd be
yeah,
like, "Do you
yeah.
want it?" Like, no, I don't want it. Like, but she would end up like putting it in my mouth. But anyway, all right. So we'll see you on Saturday. Thanks a lot. This has been the OK Show. Rod Rodriguez and Iceman, and we are out. See you on the next one.